Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about 5 things to never do on a new car after you buy it. Now, when I was a young mechanic in the 1960s, there were things that you had to do to cars that you no longer have to do when they're new. It was a good idea to change the engine oil and filter after 400 or 500 miles of driving as the engine was breaking in. But you don't need to do that today. Because the oil, like this Amazon full synthetic, hey, it's better made. The metallurgy in the engine's better. They don't shed pieces off like they used to, so you don't need to do that. And the same thing goes for the automatic transmission. Back in those days, we'd change the automatic transmission fluid the first 500 or 1,000 miles to get anything out. You don't need to do that anymore on modern cars either. When you buy it brand new, don't get in and just rev it to the red line and peel out. You don't want to go full acceleration RPM for the first 500 for 1,000 miles. Now, there's no problem driving at normal speeds. If the speed limit's 65, you can easily drive 65. But it's a good idea, depending on your engine, to keep it under either 4,500 or 3,500 RPMs the first 500 to 1,000 miles. And that leads into the second thing not to do, and that's don't shift your car at the red line when it's brand new. Just, as I said, try to keep it under 45 or 3,500 RPM so the engine can bed itself in, the piston rings can bed inside the cylinders. You don't want to be revving it as fast as you can and then shifting the gear and then going as high. It's not a good idea to do that anyway in any car, but it's really more important when the car is brand new. Now, my next suggestion might sound a little weird, but hey, for the first 1,000 miles, probably not a good idea to use your cruise control. Because as your engine wears thin, it's better to have varying speeds and varying loads when you're breaking the engine in. Now, back in the 60s again, they told people the same thing. Just don't get in your car and drive 65 miles an hour for 5 hours. That speed, it might bed in a little bit wrong. It's best to have varying speeds over the first 1,000 miles, and the cruise control is just going to leave it at 1. I mean, if you're going to use it for 20 minutes or something, no big deal. But you don't want to put it on cruise control and say drive from Houston to Los Angeles non-stop. And of course, realize modern cars, everything is run by computers. The computer actually acclimates the vehicle to your driving style. You want it to have all the driving you do in town, on the highway, low speed, mid speed, high speed. You don't want it calibrating the whole system just going one speed. Now later on it's not going to affect it, but as you're breaking it in, good idea to not use the cruise control. Now of course doing so isn't going to blow your car up, but you might find if you keep your car like me for 10, 15, 20 years, then you end up getting an engine that maybe burns a little bit of oil as it's older. Best to take really good care of the car the first 1,000 miles you drive it. Now the next thing to do with a brand new car is try to avoid just driving short distances. 3 or 4 miles or something. Once it's warmed up, it's running really well. As any mechanic or engineer will tell you, the most wear that occurs on any engine is upon startup, especially on a cold engine. Oil's in the bottom of the engine, has to be pumped up to the cams to lubricate them. If you're only driving little bitty 3-mile trips or 2-mile trips and then shutting it off and coming back hours later, that's the most wear that can occur to your engine. You want it to completely warm up and then drive it around some. Even if you don't have a new car, you're going to notice a real difference if you just take short trips for weeks on end. Take my wife's Lexus, for example. She's retired now, but when she worked at HISD and was a teacher, it was only 2.5 miles to school. So she didn't drive it much. We decided to go to San Antonio to the Alamo. So we took it out there, and part of the way there, the speed limit is like 85 miles an hour. Took about 2.5, 3 hours to get there. Then when we came back, same thing. You couldn't feel the engine. You couldn't hear the engine. That longer trip, it cleaned out the engine and it ran a lot better. And yeah, okay, it was running 100% before. It's probably running like 95%. But I could feel the difference, and so could my wife. I just did a blind test and I said, oh look, I did something to the car, what do you think? And she got in it and said, oh wow, it's really smooth now, it's ultra smooth. And I said, I didn't do anything, we just drove it to San Antonio and back. Then she got mad at me. Now if you live up north in a cold, cold winter, you're probably going to warm the car up anyways to get the heater to work. If you think about it, down here in hot, humid Houston, hey, in the summer if you buy a new car, odds are you're going to turn the air conditioning on and let it cool down before you start driving anyway. So that'll help warm it up. But you don't want to just like go to the convenience store and back and that's it. You want to take regular trips with it. If you've got an excuse to go visit somebody across town or even next city, hey, take it. It'll help wear it in correctly. Now, the last of the 5 things not to do is pretty logical. Don't overload your vehicle. 20 people like the old college kids in a Volkswagen to see how many people it can fit in a car. Don't carry a bunch of weight in your trunk. Weight's going to get worse gas mileage anyways, but the most crucial part of your engine is the first 1,000 miles. You don't want to overload the thing either by revving it too high or by carrying too much weight. Realize that modern cars, of course, what are they full of? Plastic parts. Why? Because they weigh less. So they're trying to make these things weigh as little as possible to get better gas mileage, putting smaller and smaller engines in them to get better gas mileage. Well, you don't want to strain that smaller engine by putting a ton of weight in the car either. Stay away from that, especially when the car's brand new. And here's some bonus material. Here are things that you want to do so your car continues to look good, because it's a brand new car, doesn't have any dings, got a beautiful paint job. You want that to last too. So don't do like me. Don't park your car under trees. Trees are full of what? Birds. And what do birds do? They crap all over the place. And since birds don't have teeth, they have really strong digestive acids to digest their food. They don't chew things up, they just chomp them and swallow them. So, the bird poop is full of acid. It will eat right into your paint. You don't want bird poop and stuff to get on your paint. So me, I keep a bottle of this Scooby Gone in the trunk. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but every time I see a bird has pooped on the car, I get out and clean it, because the heat of the sun, especially here in Texas, closer to the equator, that bakes that bird poop on. It can eat right into the paint of your car. And also keep a roll of these blue shop towels. They're nice and soft, they don't scratch, so you can clean the paint off and you don't have to worry about it. Plus, if you get tar or anything like that on a new paint, that Goo Gone is really good for taking that stuff off. And let's hope you don't follow a truck where a pail of paint falls off and splatters all over your car. But really, if that does happen, you got the Goo Gone, you quick run out, wipe it off. You can save that paint. Now I know it's a new car, but I like this new finish polish. It's a polish for polishing cars. I've used it for decades now. And the thing about it is, coats it so well. It says once a year, but I don't care. I do it 4 times a year, once every season in the beginning, so you don't forget. This car is pushing 20 years old, and the paint still looks excellent. So now you know 5 things that you shouldn't do to a new car, and a couple of bonus things that you should do. You spend a lot of money on that new car. Make it last as long as possible. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.